Welcome to the Back Nine Six Pack with Mitch and Justin. Let's roll.
Hello and welcome to episode 48 of the Back Nine Six Pack. My name is Mitch, joined as always by my esteemed colleague Justin. Month 2 of sobriety is complete, baby.
I can't believe you actually made it through. There was just going to be no chance. I've honestly got onto a tad bit of a bender, but my benders are different these days, and the fact that I, like drinking 2 beers yesterday would be considered a bender. Now Saturday night got a little heavy.
Yeah. You were doing your Hall of Fame duties representing at the what even was this thing?
The 100-year anniversary of Corning High School.
Yeah, okay.
Or the Corning Gala.
There you go. Fancy.
But it was for the 100-year birthday for the high school.
Nice of you to show face. I saw you roasted me with taking the picture of my sister's golf averages or low scores.
Yeah. I said someone's got to carry the Wilcox name.
Yeah.
So
it was not me for sure. So that was good. Along with my wife also on a picture on a wall somewhere in the halls.
And that conversation went off the rails very quickly. We won't get into the absolute details of all of it, but
sure. Yeah. Long story short, my my athletic career not well documented in Corning High School.
You were in pictures though.
Yeah, I was in stuff. I was doing stuff.
Academic quiz team.
Sure. Hell yeah.
I had to throw that out there.
That's fair. Yeah, so got month 2 in the books. I feel freed up. The goal at the beginning of the year was to do 3. I've got the 9 months ahead of me where I can figure out a good spot.
So you need one more month.
Yeah, I'm thinking what makes the most sense here is going to be sober October.
Man, that's tough. With football.
Golf season's petering out, though. Right before the holidays, get a nice break in before I destroy myself again. I think it's a good window.
Man, I can't do it in October with football and stuff. It's just an opportune time for a nice Saturday watching college football and maybe putting a couple back. I just can't. It's not possible.
Yeah, it's not. It won't be easy, but
like if I was gonna do a month, it'd probably be September, just because like there is football going on, but it's not like drinking weather. You know what I mean? Like that fall weather hits and it turns into drinking season.
I could listen to this argument. The problem is draft day. I mean, now I could do like maybe like mid-September to mid-October.
Yeah, maybe because it doesn't have to be like a month.
Exactly, that's
like
what
it can be like a month squeezed in between 2 months, right?
Correct.
Yeah, September would be the beginning of September would be very hard.
Yeah, you got Labor Day, and our draft is usually then. So that's tough.
I think I probably won't do another one. Although I've been very good about like not drinking during the week. Like I may have like one here or there, but I haven't really been drinking during the week.
Yeah.
Other than this week, because the whole college basketball, there's games on it. Like this past week with the conference tournaments, games are on at 12. It's like, oh, go to lunch, like squeeze in a beer here, So I did it more this week than I have in the past 3 months, almost 3 months, really. So,
yeah. Speaking of March Madness, obviously kicks off this week. Super excited. Shout out to my sister-in-law Julie with the hookup again. Going up to the first 4 tomorrow night with Zach.
Yeah,
get a little bro night out with father son. Taking Wagner and Howard. Battle of 16 seeds.
Well. And you're giving the other 2 tickets are going to Guenth.
Of course,
I've conceded them.
That was
as
big
the
of you.
gentleman I am.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be there. I'm going to find tickets. I think by tomorrow they'll be like $40 per ticket for 2 games. And honestly, the only reason I've said this multiple times already, like the only reason I'm going is the route for Colorado State against Virginia. Just so we are not subjected to watching Virginia for 2 games. The allotment in March Madness to watch Virginia should be 1 game. You should hopefully none, but we didn't get that lucky this year. Somehow they squeaked in. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. They were kind of one of those teams that didn't make sense how they squeaked in. But I'm there to root for Colorado State. Plan on heckling if I can, because I do not want to see them any more than we have to in this tournament.
Yeah, that's the correct take. Might have to look at some alt underlines, get a little plus money on some unders.
Well, I mean, yes, Virginia plays a style of basketball that was famous in the 1925s. They're trash. There's no other way to put it.
It's just not a fun watch, right?
It's not. It is not. Even their national championship team, you just wanted to pull your hair out in some of the games they got into.
Yeah.
35 points and there's 12 minutes left in the second half. You're just what am I watching right now? There should be peach baskets up there right now. That's what you felt like you were watching. So
it's if they're going to be a top 4 seed, it's more fun because then you're right for a 13-4, or
a 1,
14-3,
1-16.
1-16. That's when it's fun for Virginia. If they're going to be playing in as a 10 seed or whatever like that, we don't need that. 11.
I'm interested to see is Purdue the new Virginia.
I mean, I think undoubtedly, except for Virginia actually won a national championship.
Yeah, and I don't foresee a Purdue national championship this year as much as everybody wishes that it or actually, I don't think anybody wishes that it happens. Because they're kind of one of those teams you're just watching them play and you're like, this is not fun.
No, everybody has now officially lost something because of Purdue, I think. And so they're the team that nobody likes anymore.
Yeah. And Zach, look, he might be the nicest guy in the world. I struggle to watch him play basketball. One, because he gets an enormous amount of fouls that just, they're not fouls. They're just not. He gets a lot of fouls because they're well, he got bumped off his spot. And look how big he is. If he got bumped, it had to be a foul, right? Mm. I just don't like watching him. I really, really, oh my God, it would be so great if they lost, in the first round again, as a 1 seed. It would just make my entire tournament. Nothing would matter after that.
No, do you have any idea who they would get in the second round if they win?
I think it's either TCU or Utah State. I think is their, and Utah State is one of those teams that, everybody kind of was the Mountain West. They got 5 teams in this year.
Well, that's because New Mexico got on a heater.
They did, and they definitely, after seeing the seeds, they stole a spot for sure. They were not going to be in, but the Mountain West, man, that's you want to talk about fun. Most of those teams are fun to watch, and if they don't lose, if Purdue doesn't lose in the first round, I would be very happy with them losing in the second. I think it's a real possibility. And
a tough-nosed TCU team or that Utah State.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's definitely
right. And Jeff Stein is going to hate this take, by the way.
He is, yeah. Shout out to Jeff. Sorry.
I swear this is not a Purdue hate podcast, I swear.
Also, if any of our picks have been any indication, you should be loving this right now, to be honest.
He actually texted me last week. He was like, hey, can you guys let me know who you're taking so I make sure I do not take them?
Yeah.
It's that's how bad our picks have been recently.
All right, we'll get there in a minute. But while you're here, please subscribe, rate, and review the show. Follow us on social media at Back96Pack. All of that helps us a ton. One last note on March Madness. Who do you like?
Well, I mean, my heart is Kentucky, right? Sure. And I think they have a good enough defense to win a national championship? No. But I do think they have a good enough offense to make a Final Four. And it's been a little bit since we made a Final Four in Kentucky terms. Would love to see them make it back to another Final Four. Sleepers, honestly, I wish I could go up on Wednesday night to Dayton. Because I really, really love Boise State. I think they're kind of one of those teams that, how we always have that team that comes out of the play-in game that's an 11 seed that kind of makes a run. I think them or Colorado could be that team that makes that run. They're both very good basketball teams. I think they were both, if you look at their KenPom and their net rankings, were actually underseeded. They should really be 8 and 9 seeds, and they're 11 seeds. So I definitely like them. And then Will Wade at McNeese State. Big fans of that. And I love, a lot of people don't like Will Wade because of the whole Adidas, Nike thing. And he was part of that whole mess. But McNeese State, they lost. I think they only lost 3 games this year. So they're a really good basketball team.
Yeah, and they he called his shot, They were they won 11 games or whatever, and he's like, "Trust me, we'll be one of the best teams in the country."
Yeah, the biggest turnaround of a college basketball program, not even close.
Yeah,
I think they won 6 games last year or something like that.
It's crazy.
So those are the teams I kind of like. UConn's going to be a tough out. I was
that goes without
saying.
Look, I don't know much. I don't follow it like you do, but I do regularly bet on it. And I was so sad to see Iowa State and UConn in the same bracket because I was thinking about the Final Four matchup, maybe national championship matchup with those two, but
I mean, I've kind of adopted like with the bracket. I go into like the mock drafts for the NBA, and like any team that has like at least one, maybe two NBA guys, you're kind of like you're not going to go wrong betting with those teams.
No, I think it's a good bet, right? They always talk about guard play, right?
Yeah.
For good free throw shooting teams, like things like that. And to your point, I think the NBA talent is obviously a good thing to bet on.
Yeah, like, and everybody's like, well, FAU last year, it's like they had like legit two guys that could probably play in the NBA. So for them to make it that far is not surprising, right? When you really like look at the bare bones of it. And San Diego State had a couple guys that I actually think came back this year. I think they're legit NBA guys. Like it's not like an accident how teams make it there. Like they might not be a 5-star recruit out of high school, but like it doesn't mean they're not going to be an NBA player. So
yeah.
I think looking at the mock draft and going like, all right, well, this team's got like 2 or 3 guys that are slated to get drafted next year, or at least they're projecting to get drafted. Probably never. I've done pretty good the last year in brackets, and it's never a bad way to go. So
yeah. I think this might be one of the best years to employ the bet all of the underdogs strategy.
Oh, I'm definitely doing it.
Yeah,
this
I
year.
think I might have to get in on that.
I think I told you I did it on Thursday last year and was up like $90. Like I was betting like $5 on every one of them. There was a guy on Instagram that does like $100 on everyone. I'm not going to do that. And then I didn't do it on Friday, St. Patty's Day. I was hosting a happy hour and stuff. Just forgot to do it. And then, of course, that's when the FDU. And it's like, well, there's the moneymaker right there.
God.
But I think the guys, like, because of the FDU, and there was a Princeton, Arizona upset, which actually was on Thursday. No, that was on Friday last year. So it was like you had 2 gigantic upsets on Friday last year. I think he said he bet $100 on every game, and, like, he netted, like, $2,800 or something like that on betting on every underdog. So might not be a bad... do whatever you feel comfortable with, a couple dollars, $5, whatever it is.
Just for fun, right?
Just lay it all down on the underdogs. So,
all right. Well, we're past St. Patty's Day. We are in the Ides of March here in lovely Cincinnati, Ohio, where it can be 70 degrees one day and it could be snowing like it was today the next. So, but March 15th, officially score posting season.
We're posting, time to post some scores.
Have you registered around yet officially?
No, not yet.
Yeah,
I just paid for my handicap today, actually. So
you've got 2 weeks left of your cart privileges for free.
I do. But this week I'm like looking at the weather. Not that I would even play on Thursday or Friday because of the tournament, but but I was looking at the weather and it's really not a day. I mean, the one day is supposed to get up to 60. It's supposed to be like 30-mile-an-hour winds. I'm like, I'm not playing in that. So maybe next week.
Tough times. We're seeing signs of golf season. So I happened to catch. I just saw a random Instagram post for a podcast. It's called Fit for Golf. It's hosted by Mike Carroll. I think he's like, a fitness instructor, focuses on golf. I've seen his stuff here and there, just kind of like random workout videos and things like that. He did a podcast with a PGA pro in Tennessee named Trey Mullins, who I guess is like slowly but surely become obsessed with like this swing speed chase, right?
Okay.
So I brought this up because basically what I listened to most of it. This is one that is like purely for the golf nerds. Like only listen to this if you're like really into this, or maybe you've thought about doing some speed training or whatever in your own time. The big takeaway was like make sure your body is right before you do anything. Which makes a ton of sense, right?
I can't disagree with that. No.
Because look, I mean, who among us hasn't thought about like, hey, I might try to do some of that and, pick up a couple miles an hour here or there, whatever. But his story, he hurt himself before, like actually like preparing his body for it.
Oh, okay. So like working out, getting his body.
Yeah. So he just kind of went back into it out of nowhere and then ended up like herniating 2 discs in his back or whatever. And then was, rehabbing from that for a long time. But then they spent a lot of time talking about like, okay, prepping your body, incremental gains, like how, so basically long story short, in like, I forget how many years it was, 3-year window or so, he's picked up like 15 to 20 miles an hour swing speed. cracking up over 200 in ball speed easily now. His like cruising speed is like 130, can almost hit up to 140 at this point.
Yeah.
Like this is some seriously high level, like long drive competitor type.
Oh, for sure.
Speeds.
Yeah.
But needless to say, I found it a little bit fascinating just to kind of listen to his process and, think about as we were setting our own goals. And I know you were talking about doing a little bit of speed training and just got me thinking more about that.
Yeah. Well, and I kind of hit a speed bump because I think, I had some, I wouldn't say like, just had some back tightness like a month ago. Didn't really hamper me from like working out, but like really I didn't feel comfortable with like what you said. Like I didn't feel comfortable with working on some of that stuff. It's just because I'm like, man, I feel like one swing, like trying to speed train and stuff like that was just going to irritate it more or make it worse or whatever, So I kind of backed off of it a little bit. And then when my back hurt, was some tightness, I really was trying to focus on like stretching. So like I would only work out for like 40 minutes and stretch for like 20 minutes. And I noticed on Wednesday when we had a 70-degree day, I could start finally kind of like going after balls again. And the amount of flexibility in like the turn in my backswing was like exponentially more. And my back tightness is gone because I started stretching more. So, but yeah, I agree with. I mean, it's hard to not agree with that. It's like a lot of people are, probably like, hopefully at this point in the year, like you're starting to get healthier just because everybody's got resolutions, stuff like that. But to like come out of, I didn't start doing it until I lost like 27 pounds during dry January because I felt like I'm not in the shape to be trying to do this. So I didn't really start till like near the end of January. And then I had that back tightness like literally 2 weeks, 3 weeks later. But he's got a point because a lot of people, you don't want to go out there and you're not in shape. And then it's like you're trying to speed train. So.
Yeah. I mean, his point, like he works out 5 to 6 days a week. And a lot of it is like mobility, flexibility, balance, like things like that. His other thing, he's a teaching pro as well, so he does teach students on speed and also just golf in general. And his big thing is like he says he leads with the technique. He's like if you're getting it in certain positions, like you can't even like do the swing training until you were sequencing your swing properly.
Yeah, no.
So which is something that I was like, oh, you know what? I probably need to work on like actually, my swing sequence and. Just a raw technique before I could even consider doing something like that, right?
No, for sure.
So it was just like it was a good listen from a weekend warrior perspective like mine, somebody that clearly has thought like, man, it'd be nice to have a few extra miles an hour. Well, there's probably some things that I need to do to lay the groundwork to even like consider that.
Yes.
So
yeah, I think that goes for everybody. And honestly, I probably did it in the wrong. Just because I lost some weight doesn't mean my body's ready. And maybe that caused some of my back tightness, right? I think it was pickleball, but that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, and maybe my body wasn't ready for it, and that's maybe that's what I kind of dealt with. That's a real possibility. So yeah. I think at this point in the season, though, kind of going to put it on the back burner. I feel like where my yardages are at, like 2 weeks ago when I was up at Miles of Golf and like where my ball speeds are at, I'm like, I feel pretty good. Like I've gained on average like 3 or 4 miles per hour in the ball speed, which is not a lot, but I kind of had that roadblock. But to me, I'm like, okay, like, do I really need to hit pitching wedge like 100? Like if I really pushed it even more, it's like, do I really need to hit pitching wedge like 155? On the courses I play? Probably not.
Right.
Really never. I mean, no one should really be hitting it that far, really. You don't need to. But that's kind of my thought behind that, too. So
yeah, I just need this weather to officially change. I haven't even hit my new irons yet. They're just sitting in my bag. Just look at them. They look pretty. It's nice. Yeah.
It kind of does suck that you got them last week. You didn't really have time, all that. And then so like this week, it's not.
It's snowing today. I'm not going to go out there and like sting my hands and, hit them, 25%
I mean, have you at least thought
less.
about taking them to the driving range if we get like we should have a 50-degree day.
If I get a nice day here, given the time and everything, sure. But we've had a busy couple weeks, so it's been a little difficult. But anyway, looking forward to golf season. It feels so close.
It does feel really close. It felt like we were turning the corner there the last couple of weeks. We had a couple warm days each week. This week is really showing us that we actually have not made that turn.
Yeah.
We've not turned around. We've not gotten around that corner yet where we can bank on at least 3-4 nice days a week. So,
yeah, and I believe we are like 24, 25 days away from the Masters. We are coming around the corner. Unfortunately for us, we've been a disaster in one and done. Period, point blank.
I mean, we've got to almost be in dead last.
It's close. Look, miscut from JT at Genesis. Miscut from Justin Lauer at the Cognizant.
Which felt like a low point. It actually wasn't the low point.
Miscut from Matt Fitzpatrick at the API, who we then found out had a random weight in his driver for somehow didn't know
that guy's
this.
dead to me, by the way.
Also dead to me. T5 at the Players this week after he found that weight.
Dead to me.
It's a miracle.
Dead to me.
Also possibly dead to us, Willie Z.
No, he's not, because
He had top tens in both of the previous elevated events. We called on our guy, Nicky Picks, to make us a pick here. He sent Willie Z in, miscut.
And I want to be on record on here that I said that I'm like, we'll go with whatever you pick, but I really like Scottie Scheffler this week. I know no one's won it back-to-back, but I was like, if anybody can do it, it'd be him. And look, and you guys were like, oh, pick the number one golfer in the world. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm picking the number one golfer in the world for the biggest pot of the season. I mean, what? I mean, you would thought I picked them for like the Cognizant or something.
Right.
No, I'm picking them for the largest pot of the season. It's larger than the Masters, the U.S. Open, all the other elevated events. It's the largest pot.
Look, I'll wear the full thing here because you actually prior to that you texted me separately and were like, hey, let's just take Scottie this week.
Yeah,
and I was like, look, we both stink. Like, for the sake of content, let's just hand it over to Nick for a week. Just see what happens. It'd be funny if somebody comes in and picks a winner or does something awesome when we suck so bad. Of course, he MCs and you pick the guy that freaking wins. And it's just all bad.
And on the record, I bet him at the beginning of the week. It wasn't great odds. But I was like, the way he's putting and the way he constantly hits the ball, I'm like, he's going to win again. I don't care if no one's won this back-to-back. Don't care. I'm like, if someone's going to do it, it would have been like early 2000s Tiger or Scottie Scheffler now. Like, that's just how good of a ball striker he is, as long as the putter just doesn't go too haywire.
Yeah, so we'll get to where we stand in the one and done and what we're going to do this week in a minute, but we're going to run through a little bit of player stuff. Scottie won, obviously. We all know that at this point. Justin Ray put out a ton of stats on this. I'm just going to read these things off because they're all worth it. He's the first back-to-back champion in Players history. He tied the lowest final round with a 64 by a Players champion. He was bogey-free his last 31 holes, which is the longest streak to end a Players championship win. 8th PGA Tour win in the last 3 seasons, which is 3 more than any other player in that span. He's the first to win the Players the week after winning another tour event since 2001, which was Tiger Woods. He's the first to successfully defend any PGA Tour title the week after winning a tournament since 2007, also Tiger Woods. He ties the largest final round comeback to win a Players Championship in history of 5 shots, and the best score to par, 20 under, by a defending Players champion by 10 shots. Webb Simpson, he was defending in 2019 and shot 10 under. I mean,
the guy's an animal.
You think Rory regrets recommending he goes to a mallet?
Yeah. I was on the record before Rory said that. I said, I think he's got to go to some kind of mallet. He just has to.
Yeah, he had to make some kind of change, right?
Like, he's not going to get worse. Like, there's no way it would have got. I don't know if I would have went with the spider, but I mean, I think he's probably regretting that a little bit. But the fact that, here's the thing, it had to be going through his head that maybe should be some kind of change he should make. Like, hey, let's try a mallet. I don't think it was like, Rory said it, now we definitely got to do it. You know what I mean? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
He had to be thinking about it in the back of his head. So, we're not going to give Rory too much credit.
No, I know, but just kind of funny.
But the guy's an animal. I mean, he's an animal. It's unbelievable.
I mean, to come back on that deficit, the way he looked on Saturday, he was looking pretty rough with the neck thing. Like you could tell he wasn't swinging at it full go, just kind of grabbing at it all day long and everything. And then it even looked that way early Sunday, but as soon as he holed out for that eagle, it was game on.
Yeah.
From hole 4 on, it just was, I mean, perfect, really.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, it was just, I like just watching it all happen. It's like he got, after the eagle, and then like, I think it was probably like on 9 or 10. I was like, this dude's going to fucking win again. Like, he's definitely winning. Like, I was worried about my bet when I saw, I think it was on Friday when he was kind of like tweaking the neck. And so I'm like, oh boy. Like, look, if there's anything that can sideline somebody like that's playing as well as he is, it's a back or a neck injury for a golfer. Maybe a wrist. You could even throw a wrist in there. Those kind of suck for golfers. I was like, this might sideline our guy. And those are tough things to play golf with. But yeah, as soon as he got to like 10, I was like, oh man, he's gonna find a way to make like 3 or 4 birdies coming in. He's gonna fucking win. So that's exactly what happened. So it's just he's an animal, man. Just I can't say it enough. Like, it's just crazy.
To that end, he's drawing a lot of comparisons now to another animal, the big cat, Tiger Woods. I put a little game together for you here. This is a Tiger or Scottie game. I'm going to read you something, and you got to tell me if it was Tiger or if it's Scottie Scheffler.
Okay.
There's 4 of these. First one's tricky. I'll just admit that up front. This player's shortest odds as a favorite at the Masters were plus 450.
That's Scottie.
That is Scottie Scheffler. I tried to trick you up a little bit here.
Yeah, well, I looked at him today.
Yeah. So. He's currently plus 450 to win the Masters. Next closest is like 10 to 1, I believe, plus 1,000. He is the shortest priced Masters favorite since Tiger was plus 350 in 2013. The shortest price at any major since Spieth at the 2015 U.S. Open, plus 500. And he had won the first 2 that year.
Yeah.
Sorry, that might have been the Open Championship. My bad. Anyway, Tiger, in his 15 major victories, ranged from plus 150 at the 2000 Open and the 2001 Masters up to plus 1,400 at the 2019 Masters. And Tiger was also plus 500 or less in 12 of his 15 major wins.
Jesus Christ.
So just a wild.
I'm telling you, though,
obviously.
if he wins the Masters, you're going to start seeing plus 200 odds for Scottie.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to get him over 2 to 1.
I mean, the top 5 and the top 10 odds probably still aren't that great, but it feels like almost a lock right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like a top 10 is if his putter falls back down to what he was doing before.
That's the thing. He was doing all this stuff without being
you know
able to
what
putt.
I mean?
Yeah.
But Vegas is not going to let you just continue to get 5 to 1, $4.50, $4.50 to 1.
That's long gone. It's like,
it's if he wins, odds. if he wins the Masters, you may never get him over like 2 to 1 ever the rest of the year, unless something crazy happens where he like goes through an injury spout or something like that. But yeah, you won't ever see that again if he wins the Masters.
All right, next one. This player holds the record for strokes gained tee to green per round in a season at 2.98.
That's Scottie.
That is Tiger Woods.
Is it?
2006.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because he was close to that, I believe. But...
Yeah, last year he's Scottie's second all time at 2.62.
Okay, that's what I was getting mixed up.
So 2006 Tiger had 0.3 of a shot per round on Scottie Scheffler from last year. Tiger gained 2.07 on approach in 2006. So last year when Scottie was at that 2.62 tee to green, he was gaining 1.19 on approach. So Tiger almost had him by a full shot on approach alone.
And then you tag in like how good of a putter he was at that point.
If you look at their,
that's how stupid Tiger Woods was. By the way, if you forgot,
if you look at their data golf like plots or whatever, it's wild. Like
I would have loved to hear his like putting strokes gained. Like they probably weren't like top 50 or top 40, but he was probably like around. But when you tag it with like he's hitting the ball like that, and Scottie's coming in runner ups. coming in dead last, in putting. You're like, no wonder he won. Can't even remember how many times he won that year, but it was a lot.
Yeah, Tiger's was like through the roof in approach, driving distance because of the error he was in. His driving accuracy was down a little bit, but his putting was also way up there, so it was a short game. Scotty's is like everything is almost perfect, and then his putting is like almost in the dead center of the chart, so it's crazy. First player to lead the tour in strokes gained off the tee and strokes gained approach in a season.
Was that Tiger?
Scottie Scheffler last year.
Oh, shit.
I think he was also the first player on tour, at least for a long time, to lead the tour in greens and regulation back-to-back years last year.
Jesus.
Yeah. All right, last one. First player to reach 50 million earnings on tour.
Oh, that's Scottie.
Scottie Scheffler, and this is more of a point about the money right now.
Yeah.
He can thank Tiger Woods.
Yeah, because he just hit $21 million this year, and it's freaking March.
He has $53.5 million in career earnings over 113 starts, only 8 wins. Tiger, to get to 50 million, took him 177 starts, 48 wins.
I mean, we would be talking about Tiger. I mean, if Tiger was in his prime right now, I don't know if his earnings on course would even remotely be touched ever again.
Yeah,
think about he was winning big tournaments and it was like $1.3 million. Back then it was like, holy crap, like over $1 million a winner. Some of the smaller tournaments were well under $1 million to the winners, like $750 or something like that. So to think about, like, if we had the pots today back when he was in his prime, I mean, he would be, like, I don't even know how much more. Probably another 150 million more, maybe 200 million more.
For sure. And I think he would probably, he legitimately could win almost, like, every signature event. Because if you just look at his record in, like, the World Golf Championships
it's stupid.
Yeah, like just apply that to these signature events.
And I remember like there was such a big deal when those got to like 1.5 to the winner.
Yeah,
it's like, oh my god, like $1.5 million to the winner for those, and it's like he won. Hell, I mean, he won in Akron like 6 times or something stupid like that.
Right.
So yeah, it's crazy.
So yeah, needless to say, Scottie is absolutely golfing his ball, the likes of which we've only really seen from one other guy.
Yeah, in the shot link.
Yeah, in the strokes gained era, right?
Yeah.
So that was a fun little game. I might just like sprinkle those in throughout the year if I run into stats that I see. I'll just drop them on you.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's wild. Yeah. I mean, we just haven't seen it. I don't think anybody thought we'd even come close to seeing something like that ever again, at least from a ball striking perspective.
Yeah. All right, you wanted to talk about this. I know nothing. I'm gonna go ahead and remove myself from this conversation because I don't know if I'm.
The evidence is mounting, okay, and this is not because of. I've admitted I'm not going to eat my words quite yet. Like I'm still holding out, but I've even told you I've even leaned into the Wyndham thing. I bet him this week. I'm like he's playing some unbelievable golf, but there is evidence mounting that we might have another Patrick Reed on our hands.
Please explain.
So last week, Arnold Palmer, well documented his situation on 18. I think he built a lie with his club. I think the ball moved a little bit, and it doesn't have to move much, and it didn't go back into its original position at the Arnold Palmer. I thought he should have been stroked for that because he clearly did. I mean, he didn't even hit the club that he went down and built the lie with. That to me is against the rules, right? It's no different than bending a branch back on a tree. You can't do that, right? You can't bend it back and you can get in front of it, but you can't bend it up. You can't build a stance. That's no different than that. And then you got this week. This one went a little under the radar. That one was pretty well documented. I believe it was on the front nine yesterday. He was taking a relief, I believe, from a sprinkler head. He was taking relief from something. It might even been a cord. He's in the rough, and he lays his club down, and he played with Xander yesterday, right? So Xander walks over. This dude is walking the length of his club and you can see him stamping down the rough.
Oh shit! I didn't see this. I missed this.
And we're gonna put this on our Instagram because people need to see this. This flew under the radar, but he's like, you can clearly see he's like acting like he doesn't know where he wants to drop it along his club length, and he's clearly stamping down the rough. So it doesn't so he doesn't drop it and it drop into the rough. Sure. Like it's dropping on matted down rough.
Yeah.
Low key cheater. Like he's becoming the next Patrick Reed. Slowly but surely. And that's like back-to-back weeks. Like, who knows what's going to happen the rest of the year?
Yeah.
And, like, look, I'm all for guys like, sprinkler heads, things like that. Like, playing within the rules of golf to your advantage, right?
Sure.
Like, you got a sprinkler head there. Like, you may take, like, a slightly wider stance because that's not against the rule. All right, I need relief. Like, and you take relief, right? Maybe you had a bad lie. This is like just blatant. Like this is not even within the rules. Like that's the second week in a row he's kind of built a stance or like built a lie. I mean, essentially. I mean, he was clearly like when you see the video, it's bad. Like I've never known anybody like walk up and down their club length, deciding where they're going to drop the ball.
I mean, that's a savvy move.
It's savvy, but it's
might need to learn something here.
It's cheating. Like. It's just scumbaggy, right? Like, It's just low-key scumbag. Like, if I saw someone doing that in a tournament, I can't believe Xander's standing right there and letting them do it. Like, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, dude, I would have... If I saw somebody do that in a tournament, I don't care if I didn't know him or not. Like, I would say something like, dude, like, you gonna trample down some more rough? Like, what are we doing here? Like, you're not a fucking spectator on the sidelines. Like, this rough is fluffed up for a reason. It's, like, in play.
Yeah.
And it was scumbaggy. The evidence is mounting that he is very Patrick Reed like when it comes to questionable stuff on the course.
All right, you're gonna be the PI on this. You're gonna have to watch this.
I mean, there's a bunch of people on it now. Like they're like that video from this weekend was not shown much, and people found it.
Interesting.
It's mounting. It is. And I hope, and this thing that sucks is because he is playing really good golf and he's playing good enough to win. Like you just don't have to do that, right? Like him building that lie on 18, it didn't end up it didn't end up getting him to the point where he won. But it's just like, dude, the rules are the rules, right? Like you can't do that.
Right.
And like I think after the Arnold Palmer. They talked about it in the tent, like when he went to sign his scorecard. And, I think, who did he play with in the last round? Did he play with Rory in the last round of the Arnold Palmer?
I'm not sure.
I don't know who he played with, but apparently his playing partner was like if you say it didn't move, then it didn't move. But, because you can't, if they're not like right there, your playing partner can't call penalty on you if he's not like standing over top of the ball. It's kind of like, self-governed at that point. But, I mean, there was a camera on it. I saw it move a little bit. Never went back into its place. But what do I know? So
there was a lot of just, like, ruling stuff this week at the Players. And I don't know if it might be because they have, like, every shot is recorded, basically, for this event.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's just more cameras. But, like, there was the Austin Eckroat thing yesterday.
Oh, yeah, the ball that sat on the lip.
Yeah, and then it goes in, but it was after the time, that kind of thing, so it's a stroke penalty. There was a whole, like, kerfuffle on Thursday with, Rory and Vic and Jordan Spieth on, like, twice they couldn't figure out where Rory's ball crossed, so they couldn't agree to where it crossed.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
more water on this course than most, too. That plays a factor.
That was a generous drop.
Yeah, I didn't catch it all. I just saw the back and forth a little bit.
Yeah, the whole point is like because how the water kind of goes, it kind of curves out.
Yeah.
And, he was saying like it hit up and like left of the bunker, bounced in the rough and went in the water. But they didn't and Jordan was kind of like yelling across. He's like, well, if we definitely don't know it did that, like, if you saying you definitely saw it do that, then there's really not much I can do. But, like, he's like, at the angle, it's kind of hard to tell that it did that. And he would have had to drop back, like, 20 yards, probably 25 yards.
Sure.
Those are hard. because like I think it was a generous. I do think it was a generous drop, but it's kind of one of those things like everybody's like seeing something different, right? Like he could be on a different side of the tee box and be seeing something different. So,
right.
But I still think it was a generous drop. But
yeah, it's just kind of weird. Lots of rule things.
Yeah, the Austin Eckler thing. I don't think a lot of people know. Like you don't have to put it back and put it in. Like it goes in the hole 3 plus a shot penalty, so you end up getting a 4.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
Yeah,
but I don't think a lot of people know that. Like you don't have to place the ball back and then tap it in.
Sure. Yeah, you get a reasonable amount of time to get to your ball from when you putt it.
Yeah, and
plus
like
10 seconds.
Yep.
And so I guess it had surpassed that limit or whatever.
Yeah. So if you're putting for 3 and it goes on the lip and then it falls after 10 seconds. That counts, but then you get a shot penalty 4.
Correct.
So
yeah,
it's not like it's like
as if you tapped
4
it in.
and then you get another shot. It's 5. Yeah. It's as if you tapped it in. Yep. So yeah, there was a bunch of stuff like that this week, and then obviously the Wyndham stuff that flew under the radar. Scumbag.
Jeez, shots fired. I thought you did a turn on Wyndham with full swing. Now you're back.
I told you I'm leaning into how good he's playing. Like he is a great golfer, but like that scumbag stuff that doesn't play well with me. Doesn't mean I won't bet him because I'm not against blood money.
Totally fair. I mean, hey, you want the guys that are trying to grind every edge for you, right?
Yeah. I mean, if I want to bet because of it, I'm going to be like scumbag, but then I'm like, okay, well, I want to bet, so.
Yeah. Okay. One final thing on the players, Back 9 Six-Pack Award, back for a second week. Deserving candidate this week.
I didn't look for this, but I'll let you take it.
I think the easiest one to give away, especially when it happens on a Sunday. First, there's a lot of criteria that goes into this, but one, if you're in the 80s, it's like you're an auto candidate for this, right? 2, it's if you make an eagle and you still shoot in the 40s for a 9,
that's not good.
That's a true one of us moment that we have to celebrate.
That is a true weekend warrior 9-hole round there.
And part of this too is the guy who does it, right?
Definitely doesn't hurt.
And their look and their vibe. And this is a weekend warrior, maybe the peak weekend warrior vibe on tour. Peter Malnati.
Oh, God, yeah, he is, yeah.
He's got the floppy bucket hat going, the MLB sponsorship,
He's kind of a goofy guy, too.
Yeah, he's real corny, goofy, funny guy, but he seems totally cool and nice, like nothing against the guy. But he shoots an 81 on Sunday, and this was after, I think he shot in the 60s on Saturday. So just a total Sunday meltdown.
Or just trying to get to the plane, just trying to get on the flight.
Yeah, he was 7 under going into yesterday. Ends up 2 over for the tournament, tie for 68. That was probably a big.
God, his caddy probably hates his guts right now.
A lot of money differential there, money lost. He triples 4, doubles 7, bogeys 8, eagles 9, to turn in 40.
Which, by the way, 9 is the hardest eagle on that course.
Yeah, I think Scottie made par there, and I was kind of worried that might have been
11 and 16 are and really even 2. Those are the eagle par 5s. 8 or 9's hey, I might squeeze it up on the front of the green kind of thing. Maybe.
And I didn't see. He may have holed out. I didn't check the shot chart for that. But he turns in 40. Clearly does not get the back 9 6-pack because he doubles 10. Does get a back a birdie on 11, but then follows it up with a bogey on 12. And then an awful double on 16. And then closes out with a sad bogey on 18 for a 41. The 81 caused, just so much money lost on this round.
My God. I can't even fathom. I can't even fathom how much money difference that is.
Yeah, I didn't look, but it had
between him shooting even par and then 81, it's probably
hundreds of thousands of dollars probably in this tournament. Yeah.
Yep. Probably.
So yeah, Peter Malnati this week needed the back 9 6-pack award.
Yeah, he gets it for sure.
Yeah.
You go 40-41 on a Sunday at the Players, you definitely deserve it. That's rough. Oh, and by the way, real quick before we move on to the to our pick, shout out to Grayson Murray, 64 on Sunday.
You're right. I meant to highlight that.
You want to talk about going the opposite direction on the money, making money. That probably, I don't know what he ended up finishing. He finished 8 under. I think wasn't he like 2 over going to that? So he's probably like that.
T42.
Yeah.
He was 3 over going to that. So yeah. Clean 64.
Yeah. So like you want to talk about a gigantic shift in money not being made and being made. That's huge. And that was tied for the low round with Scottie on Sunday. So
yeah. And I mean, honestly, big for them. Like these things matter. FedEx Cup point.
100%,
right?
especially that tournament.
He's a winner this year, so trying to hold on to those spots. That sets you up for next year potentially.
Well, especially next year, like if he doesn't win again, right? Like the exemption outside of world rankings and stuff and all that, and like where you finish, that doesn't carry over next year. So, the more points you get, the better off he's going to be next year, possibly getting in all the elevated events again. So, right. And I think this, outside of the majors, this actually might have more FedEx points than the majors. I could be wrong.
No, I think you're right that it does.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, shout out to Jay. There we go again.
Yep.
All right. This week, we're at the Valspar Championship, Innisbrook, down in the Tampa area. This one's one of those more positional off the tee, tighter course, approach play, make some putts.
Yeah. 10 under won it last year, by the way. It played tough.
It usually does. It's honestly one of the tougher.
Yeah, Copperhead's not easy.
You get the snake pit here, the last 3 holes that are some of the hardest on tour.
Yep.
Yeah, this one's fun. I always like watching Valspar.
Yeah. It's a good, non-elevated, kind of between some bigger events kind of event. I've watched a lot of it last year. So.
Yeah. I think last year Taylor Moore won. But then before that, you had 2 back-to-back Sam Burns wins.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
And this, Patrick Reed is one here. Spieth is one here. Yeah, there's been some pedigree.
Do we want to talk about the change we're making in this?
Yes. So, look, it's well documented how bad things have been. We've already talked about it. We've never been down badder.
Now, we are officially rock bottom. We thought that Justin Lauer was the rock bottom. Then the next week happened. Then we got deeper, and then this week is definitely rock bottom.
Yeah. We are in 3,855th place with a measly 1.2 million. The leader has 11.1 million, so we're about a cool 10 million back in the lead.
Oh my god!
And we're almost 5 million out of the money.
So you're telling me we're gonna have to pick a winner for pretty much the majors and catch a couple.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have a Grand Slam type season.
You're telling me so essentially we got to birdie 7 of the last 9 holes.
Yeah,
just to have a chance.
I don't want to say that we still got 3/4, 2/3 of the season left.
4 majors still.
Now we pissed away 3 of the highest paying, and including the highest paying event, so that's tough.
Yeah.
Look, Scottie winning back to back in these events and us not being on it was bad. Because I bet he I don't know how much of the probably 60% of the field has used them by now, and they got a win out of them.
And again, I've had worse ideas than this pick, the Mayo Cup. By far, my least worst idea was picking Scottie this past weekend.
Yeah, you had the right idea. You were like, you know what, we need the tourniquet pick here. And
yeah, exactly.
You were right. We were wrong.
Exactly.
So anyway, we're changing it up. We felt like the bring 3 picks thing was just a cop out, right?
Gave us too much leeway.
We're burning this down. Too much of a leash. We are both coming committed with 1 pick. And we're going to have to convince one or the other of us to go to our side.
Do you want me to go first?
You can go first. You have the honor.
Keegan Bradley.
Okay.
And because of this being a position course, last year he wins at what's that tournament up in the Northeast? Shorter course, position course, played that course well. I don't know. I just feel like I don't think he's played particularly well this year. It just kind of has the feel of it being an event that he's going to play well in. And I will say this: last year when he started playing well, I always kind of when I did fantasy stuff, I I always had like a good sense of when he was going to play well. I took him in fantasy golf when he won last year up in New England. What is that tournament? I'm drawing a blank right now.
The Travelers.
The Travelers. There it is. I was like going through all these insurance companies trying to remember the Travelers. So I had him on my team when he won a like I always just had a really good sense of when he was going to play well.
Yeah, I mean Keegan in the Northeast is like a cheat code.
It is, but like I feel like this course sets up well for his style of play. Like he's no longer like the longest guy. He's not a long hitter. Just feels like a tournament that he's going to play well at.
Yeah, I don't disagree with your analysis. Feels like it should fit him. He's kind of played like all right this year.
That's what I say. He's not like killed it, right? Yeah. Like, it's not like he's playing like unbelievably good golf, but
missed the cut at the Players, T36 at API, missed the cut at Genesis, T11 at Pebble Beach, and then T43 at Farmers. That's his last 5. Here at Copperhead, he had a second place finish in 2021, but outside of that, nothing better than T31. So kind of a
So maybe not like a great like specific this course fit, but
his game should play here. That's the thing I don't quite understand.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't hate it at all.
But he's kind of like the Shane Lowry, right? Like you don't ever like what it was his form. Like what is his form right now? Because every time he wins, it just kind of comes out of nowhere. Yeah. Like, oh crap, he won. Like he hasn't even been playing that well. That's kind of the feeling I get with him. Just being like kind of a veteran. He doesn't have to have like particularly good form to go out and win the next week.
Yeah, and if you look at the field just based on like world ranking, possibly I haven't looked at the odds, but he's like the 3rd best player in the field.
Yeah, he's up there. Yeah.
So I mean, I don't hate the pick. So you're going for more of that Shane Lowry safety dance vibe. I'm coming at you with a Justin Lauer type pick. Doug Gim.
Dude, I'll tell you, like, he's been playing pretty good this year. Like, I've seen his name up there a lot.
5 straight.
He's kind of like the Steven Yeager. Like, I don't think he's not going to miss the cut, right? Like, you
right.
feel
it's
pretty
more of a
comfortable.
Yeager play, yeah.
You feel like pretty comfortable he's not going to miss the cut. By the way, Steven Yeager's cut streak, I believe, ended this week at the Players. He missed. He shot even, missed it by 1. His cut was 1 under.
Damn.
Yeah.
Pour one out for our boy.
Yeah, no kidding. But yeah, I don't hate it.
Doug Gim, 5 straight top 20s, and that includes at the Players, a T16, where he always seems to play well at Sawgrass for whatever reason. This course specifically, he didn't play in 2022, but in 2023, T27, and 2021 made the cut, but it was like T70. I don't know. I just looked at it and I was like, I'm going to ride the form because I feel like that's the only thing I can count on at this point. But yeah, it's a little bit much farther down the board than Keegan for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in no position to say no to anything.
I mean, you just picked Scottie Scheffler to win. I mean, now it is Scottie Scheffler. Yes, I know. I get it. But, like, you are coming off of your own personal win.
Yeah. I really don't hate the Doug Gim pick. I'm telling you, like, every time I've seen a tournament this year, it's like, oh, there he is in, like, 12th place.
Yeah, his last 5 finishes.
Like, you know, it's like he's just kind of always there.
His last 5 finishes are T16, T16, T8, T12, T13.
Matter of fact, I played, there's a guy around here does, like, sheet games for, like, 6 tournaments out of the year. Usually the majors, Players. Usually he'll do, like, one of the elevated events, not around the majors, and I took him. Like, he was in the D group. I'm like, dude, I'm taking Doug Gim. You know, I took him in that. So, like, I don't hate it. I think the safer play is Keegan, but I think the plays, like, that could get us the most would be Doug Gim just because, like, he's not going to be picked as much.
Yeah, that's the thing. Do we need to play the strategy game right now of the ownership thing? Or are we just trying to, like, we got to get some momentum?
Before I told you, like, that was the play, right? It's like, let's pick somebody that's not got a lot of ownership.
Yeah.
But I feel like now it's like, we just got to start racking up paychecks. Like,
we got to build
the mortgage is due. You know, we haven't made a cut in 4 weeks. You know, wife went on a shopping spree.
Yeah.
That's where we're at, right? Like, we just need some kind of paycheck.
Yeah.
And do I think I mean, Keegan's not had great form. It's a toss-up. Those two picks. I mean,
I think let's go ahead and roll Keegan.
Okay.
Let's do it.
If you're okay with it. I honestly don't feel bad with either one of them.
No, I don't think famous last words. I don't think Doug Gim will win, but he will be lower owned and could get us like a top 10 finish versus like Keegan can just roll out to a tournament and he can win.
Yeah.
Like that's.
But I think what's going to help us with his ownership is people might look at his form and go like,
True.
So they might, even though he's like top 3 or 4 in world rankings going into this tournament, as far as the people that are playing, it might keep some people off of him.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Okay.
Because he's a top 20 player in the world. I don't really know where else we'd use him outside of the Travelers or something.
Yeah.
Why
but
not? Why not now?
is he gonna win that back to back? Probably probably not. But okay, all right, we'll roll with Keegan.
All right, Keegan Bradley is our pick. Everybody out there, you've been warned.
And I did not sell him on a bridge to nowhere this time.
No. That's a respectable top 15 player in the world.
I can't remember who I was going to go with before Keegan. I kind of rolled across Keegan. Hold on, let me pull up my list here.
No, you're committed to one guy.
No, I know, but I want to. This would have been a bridge to nowhere for sure. Oh God, where's it at? It was. Oh, Taylor Montgomery. I feel like that would have been a bridge to nowhere.
I clicked on him and looked at the form and the stats and everything, and yeah, I considered it.
But it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of out there though too.
So was Doug Gim, so I mean, whatever. All right. I think it's time. We are going to head to the patio. Last week, thank you guys if you listened. We did a full review of Full Swing Season 2 with our boys Guenth and Nick. If you haven't listened yet, go back and listen to that one. It's awesome. Just getting to break down all that with you guys and hearing everybody's different takes on the different guys in the show and the storylines and all that was fun. Guenth felt so compelled to ask his question, he voice messaged us to play it so we could all answer it live, and he gives his own answer as well. So I think we're going to go ahead and cut to Guenth first. We'll give him the guest honors, and we will answer his question on the other side here.
Hey, fellas. Multi-time caller, long-time listener. Wanted to run my Patio Beers question that I didn't get to ask you guys last week. What is your favorite bar in the world? This is just, hey, if you had one last night out, this is the bar you're picking. You get to pick the crew that's coming with you. What is the bar you're choosing? I have one in mind. It is the E Club in Emerald Isle. It is a beach bar, live music. They have a back patio area with cornhole. Just a great vibe in there. That's got to be mine. Want to know what your guys' is. I'll hang up and listen. Thanks, guys.
All right. Absolutely electric question. Can't believe we didn't ask this before.
I said that today. I'm like, I don't know how this fell through the cracks.
I told Guenth, I was like, look, this is going to probably lead off the best of Patio Beers episode for this Christmas season. Like, it's that good. You're in the Patio Beers Hall of Fame with this question.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get with quality control, our quality control people. I don't know how this slipped through the manufacturing line.
That's
Just
tough.
Don't know.
That's really tough. Do you want the honors here?
Yeah,
take them.
Yeah. So mine's a little along the lines of what he. Look, I don't know if you can go wrong with any. If you have a favorite one, like beachfront bar, but I'm going to go a little different. I was flip flopping between two. Clover Club, Tiffin, Ohio. Just so many good nights there, so many stories. Just. I can't even wrap my head around how many things that happened at that place. There's another place. There's another place in Tiffin, but I went with this one. Clover Club is just, and anytime I go back now, I go in there. Just if I had to spend one more night, it's just a low key, awesome small town bar. Just kind of is what it is. I know it's not as cool as like being on a beach or whatever, but that would 100% be my choice just because of the history and like I don't know. Like I love a small town dive bar.
Yeah.
Like that's just like my personality. Like small town dive bar.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like I just wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Full agreement for me. So here's the problem for my question, or my answer to this question. The bar I would pick does not exist anymore. Yesterday's Old Time Saloon in Mount Adams, I basically spent all of my 20s there. Like, we celebrated birthdays, engagements, new jobs, post-weddings.
I forgot they closed down. Totally forgot about that.
So sad. Everything there. And it's, the perfect little local, like you said, dive bar kind of place. When it rained, it would, like, leak on the inside of the the doors, you know. Had a little back patio. It was $2, you call it Wells, until 9 p.m. So it was just like $4 doubles nonstop. The popcorn, always fresh or not, but always delicious. It was the spot for us literally throughout our entire 20s. So that would be the one if it still existed. I've had we've been lucky enough to travel a bunch. So I had some like honorable mention places like Brazen Head in Dublin is like the oldest like pub in the world.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Super cool, just like truly like the classic Irish pub. Look, in Nashville, you got Tootsie's, Legends Corner, tons of like places like that are, historic music bars. And it's just always fun to be out on Broadway and, on the rooftop of Tootsie's
for sure.
or down in Legends Corner there. Buena Vista in San Francisco, it's down on the wharf.
Oh, yeah.
You got the views of the Golden Gate and the Bay. I'm a big Irish coffee guy. They're like supposedly one of the originators in America of the Irish coffee. That was an absolute vibe when you get there in golden hour times. And then my true honorable mention, this is very specific to us, but I think we have got to, at some point, run it back at Fuzzy's Place, the bar restaurant, a covered bridge.
Yeah, so that came up.
Because I just need to know, like, what, how sometimes, you know this because you were there with me, but, like, sometimes you go to, like, when you're, like, truly present, like, belly up to the bar, the world around you just doesn't even exist.
Nothing exists.
You and your friends having some drinks. Like, I need to know if it was just a one-time magical moment that just can't be recreated.
Was it just more?
Or is that place something more that I just didn't know? I just don't know. And maybe it's better if we don't answer it. It's like the mythologicalness of it is what keeps it great. But I would like to explore. I almost need to know, really.
Yeah. I want to go back.
Yeah.
Those summer shandies, still to this day, best summer shandy I've ever had. Don't know why it tasted different. Don't know why it tasted better. It just did.
Yeah. Period, point blank.
I've got an honorable mention. So I went between two bars in Tiffin. My honorable mention is, quote unquote, like beach bar. It's in Key West. The Smokin' Tuna. I mean, dude, like banging live music every night. It sits like in between buildings. So it's like open. It's like open canopy. And super cheap drinks for a vacation destination. And then I had these garlic fries one night. So like one night we didn't go eat dinner. Mm-hmm. And we didn't eat a dinner. Like we kind of just walked around town and like ate stuff at every different place, like appetizers. And I got these like garlic aioli fries there. They were so potent that Daniel was thinking about making me sleep on the couch in our hotel room that night.
Garlic fries, like
like that's another thing with a bar. Like that is like to be a good bar, like you have to have like good bar food too, like slightly good bar food. That, at least for me.
Or the ability to like bring something in.
Yeah, 100%. But like Smokin' Tuna, man, in Key West is the bands they bring in are just all really, really good. We went there like 4 times. We were down there for 6 days, and I think we went there 4 times. Yeah. So,
shout out to the Casamigos experience at the Barbasol.
Oh yeah, another great pop up bar. Yeah. Yeah.
That was a blast. I mean, just sitting there and you got the shots coming in there. Was that 9 or
No,
was
18. Yeah.
So it's a little quirky. They ended on a par 3 there.
Yep.
Yeah, shots over the water. They've got like the pop up.
Or no, that was 9. Yeah, that was 9.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah. Because 18's along the water. The par 4.
Yeah.
So 9's a par 3 there, and we were just watching guys come over there.
Yeah, and it's like right next to the green. I mean, it was, and it's
it
free.
blew my mind.
You didn't have to buy a separate ticket to get into it. It was
just
fantastic.
They got the literally the big ass fans. If you've never seen that brand of fan, chilling in there. They're serving Casamigos, whatever you need.
Yeah, Casamigo old fashions and stuff. Like it was a pretty good spot. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that was look, we were only a couple months into doing this thing, and we were so excited to go to a tour event while we were doing this, and it was just the vibes were so high. That's all I can say.
Another honorable mention. What was it? The Blind Zebra.
Holy shit, that's a throwback.
I believe this was for your bachelor party.
Yeah, down in one of like the 2 bars in Fairfield Glade. Did not know that was a thing. We vastly underestimated the potential nightlife in Fairfield Glade.
Yeah, there's not much.
But Blind Zebra punched above its weight for sure.
100% did. Found my wife's doppelganger while we were there too.
That was crazy.
Yeah. It was just a great spot too. It was honestly what we needed, because like if we had anything more than that, like I think things would have went off the rails pretty quickly. Like it was enough for us to like have fun, but then like be out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that makes sense
for sure. Another honorable mention. This probably should be Guenth's honorable mention, but Stagger Inn in Lexington.
Yeah, Stagger Inn's pretty good.
Oh, so good. I think a bar levels up instantly in my book if you have to like go down steps to get into
100%. A basement bar? Yeah.
And
it sets the tone for what's about to happen.
Country music, live music joint.
Yeah, Stagger Inn's good. Yeah, it's not bad either.
Stagger in, stagger out, baby.
That is so true. Whew. God, it's such a... Yeah, and you know, it's funny, like, for Lexington being a college town, like, there's not, like, a ton of, like, really good bars. For not having, like, a ton of them, that is a great, great college bar, too.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, it's top-notch, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can think of any more, but those...
Oh, like, there's tons more.
I mean, the other one in Tiffin that I was... They actually are not more so a bar now. Like, they still have a bar, but... When I was in college, like it was like a bar turned, like they had food during the day and stuff like that. And then at night it turned into like a club, but they stopped the club scene, but Madison's in Tiffin. And by the way, their chicken wings are top notch. Like, and when I was there, you could get a pound of chicken wings for like $7. So college budget. And they sell their wing sauce now, like on the market. Like you can buy it in a bunch of different places. It's that good. Their kitchen sink wing sauce, it's like a mix of like 6 or 7 different ones.
Oh God. And
then you tag it with like dollar bombs and dollar beers. Perfect college bar.
Yeah. Man, the
college. Such a good question. God.
Yeah. That
I just cannot believe that fell through the cracks this long.
I mean, with our brand, what it is, like, yeah, that should have been first month of podcasting for us.
You would have thought.
Well, then, shout out to Guenth again, bringing the heat for Patio Beers.
Yeah.
You have a question.
I do.
I'm just getting, this is a full Justin honors night. I'm just letting you.
So, obviously, March Madness coming up. You know, we got buzzer beaters, things like that. One shining moment, you know. Here's my question, though. And this is you cannot be a golf moment. Like, we got to keep that out. There's just too many for us to name.
Yeah.
Or like what we would want, right? Like hypothetically. So if you could have a moment in a sport, like a buzzer beater in an NCAA tournament game, like what would that moment be? Like what sport would it be, and what would it be in that sport that you would want to do? Like a moment, like not like a game, like, well, I hit 4 home runs in the World Series, like an at bat or whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, my immediate thought went to baseball for sure. That's the one I played the most growing up. And, you know, every kid has, you know, you hit the home run to win the World Series or whatever. It's like a dream. I mean, I think a game like a World Series winning hit would be pretty top notch.
Yeah.
If you take away the aspect of like the full game side of it, because I think if you went like complete game shutout or through like a obviously like a perfect game would be pretty cool from like a pitching perspective.
Yeah.
But game winning hit in a World Series with that scene, everybody just rushes you or whatever. You're basically getting mobbed out on the field. Like that would all be pretty legit.
Yeah. So I went with baseball too, but different.
Okay.
Catching the final out in the World Series.
That would be cool.
Because, and look, we're Reds guys, right? Cincinnati. Todd Benzinger caught the winning out in the 90 World Series. He still lives in Cincinnati, by the way. He actually lives where we're at, Westchester. I see him roaming around every once in a while up at Liberty Center. He's got a couple young kids, which is kind of crazy, but he still roams around. I mean, he had a good MLB career, but like everybody in Cincinnati knows him. Like they know him, and he wasn't even like a large part of that World Series team, right? Like when you consider like the grand scheme of like them winning it.
Yeah.
But he caught the final out. Like he's remembered for that. I think it was I can't remember who caught the one in like the 70s for the Reds, and someone asked him I think it wasn't the winning out, but like it was a ball that was hit in his direction against the Red Sox, and it was the one that hit the foul pole, like that famous home run.
Sure. And
the ball bounced back in, and someone like George like, did you pick up the ball? And he was like, well, if I knew at the time how much it was going to be worth today, like I would have definitely kept it. Crazy story about Todd Benzinger with that whole situation. He had the ball for years. And when he moved back to Cincinnati, he found it in his like equipment bags. He kept equipment bags from every team he played with.
Yeah.
He found it in his equipment bag for the Reds and donated it back to the Reds Hall of Fame.
That's sweet.
But this ball was just missing for years.
Yeah.
And he found it. So catching the final out in the World Series, I feel like a winning hit would be cool. Don't get me wrong. But like catching the out or, getting the out and, final out would be pretty awesome too. Like I've always like, it's like, oh, fly ball. Like I always picture myself doing that, like playing baseball. It's like, oh, they win the World Series. Like that would be pretty cool.
That's a good one for sure. I was just kind of trying to think, like the football's a little tricky because there's usually like, you don't usually like win on like a walk-off in football.
Yeah.
And there's like walk-off field goals occasionally.
Yeah.
But like usually if you're throwing a touchdown pass, there's still like, you got to do a kickoff or an extra point. There's like stuff like that.
My runner-up was like hitting a buzzer beater and like in March
I think
Madness
March
tournament,
Madness buzzer beater would be the one.
Just because those get like so much, they get replayed so much.
Oh yeah.
Like I think everybody remembers Bryce Drew's, like I don't even, like we might have been like 5 when this happened, but Bryce Drew with Valparaiso hitting his game winner against Ole Miss. Like you've seen that replay like what, 9,000 times? Like,
right.
God, this hurts me to say, like Christian Laettner. Like you've seen that replay like how many times? Just because it gets played over and like that, I mean, it instantly makes you famous.
Yeah.
The big one, I think it happened like 10 years ago. It was like the Northern Iowa guy he heaved it from like half court and banked it in.
Faruknamesh or whatever his name was?
Yeah.
Ali Faruknamesh.
And I remember watching that game like live. It was just, what's so funny is the one that doesn't get a lot of play that happened relatively recent, say probably in the last 10 years, was the one to win the national championship for Villanova. Who was that? Chris Dunn, maybe?
I think that sounds right. They had a lot of guys come through that time.
That was like national championship winning shot, and it's like you have so many, like you have round of 64 games that get replays for buzzer beaters and stuff like that. There's been so many good ones, but they all get like a crazy amount of play.
Yeah. No, that's definitely true. And like you're basically like a cult hero at these, colleges or whatever when you do that.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're right. It's like a different level of kind of notoriety.
Like I just know like my favorite moments as a fan, like a Kentucky fan in the tournaments, like I remember when Brandon Knight came down the court and made like a 15-foot jump shot against Ohio State. Like I remember like in a Sweet 16, like I remember that more than most of the tournament. moments, right? Like just because it wasn't a buzzer beater. I think he hit it with like 2 seconds left, but yeah, those get so much play, like you instantly become like a folk hero.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
but I felt like that was the easy out. No pun intended with what I picked. But.
Yeah, no, that was a good try. I honestly hadn't thought about that, but you're right. That's definitely. Nice.
I just know how much people remember Todd Benzinger. It's like he wasn't like a gigantic part of that team, but it's like he caught the winning out. So it's like he's forever ingrained in Reds history for that. So,
all right. Quick callback here to the players. Did you see what happened with Ben Silverman?
No.
Okay, so they had to finish on Saturday to make the cut. He's one of the guys that had to come back out. He needed to hole out on hole 9 from 109 yards, I believe it was, to make the cut. So that morning on his range session, he literally hit just like a million 100-yard shots or whatever, just like trying to hit the shot he was going to hit to try to make it. He ended up like flaring it out right into the little pot bunker or whatever and made a bogey and missed the cut anyway. But it triggered me to a question I had written down for a long time. If you had 24 hours from 135 yards to make a hole-in-one, and you get $5 million if you do it, but if you do not do it, you are no longer allowed to play golf, would you attempt it?
Yes.
I agree.
Not even close. Now, if you moved it back to like 170 or 180,
no chance
then
I'm
like,
it from there now.
The money amount would have to be more. It'd probably have to be like 10 or 20 million. Because that's like, yeah, that's a long, if you just go to the statistics, I'm sure it'd probably tell you like, you'd probably have to hit 15,000 shots, you know, statistically speaking, to make one of those. But like 135, like a wedge in my hand, I'm taking that.
You get a full day, 135 yards,
like nonstop, sunshine doesn't matter. Like you can just go around the clock. 135.
Yeah, I think one of those goes in from the
you're gonna
shots you hit.
You're gonna get lucky eventually. I tell the story like when I did karts at a golf course in high school. It's like a downhill 100. It's like 170, but it way downhill. It probably plays like 155. Mm-hmm. And I used to go out there all the time with like a bucket of range balls and just hit balls. And multiple times, like I probably did it 50 times. I bet I've done it 20 or 30 times where like 10, 15 balls in, I'd hit it and it's like, oh shit, it went in. Like, it's like, all right. Well, but they like in defense of this though, there was like depending on where the pin was, there was always kind of like a backstop, and you're hitting it down the hill, so you had some spin. So it was very easy to like hit it behind it and suck it back in. But
right.
I mean, I would 100% take that bet.
I think so too.
I might even take it from 150. Anything outside 150, then you're starting to talk like, okay, it's like a 7, 8, 7, 6 iron. It's like that's when it gets a little iffy. But anything pitching wedge 9 iron, I think I would take that bet for sure.
I think I'm with you. Is there a dollar amount from that same yardage that would not be worth it to you?
I would probably say anything under $1 million, I'd probably be out. Like $1 million, like you want to give me $1 million to hit balls for 24 hours to try to make a hole-in-one, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
But if you're like 500, I don't know. I'd probably be out at that point.
With the caveat that you have to give up golf, I think there needs to be
there's got to be at least
it's worth it.
At least 7 figures on the line.
Yeah.
For sure.
I agree.
I like that.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a yardage and a money amount that I would be a no.
Yeah, there's definitely like a
just wouldn't even want to be risking it.
It's like the fuck around and find out chart, right? You gotta find where the mesh point is in that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. That was a good episode. Look, some of these where you come in and you're kind of like, man, I don't know if we got it in us for an episode tonight, but that was
we felt very unorganized. I had a crazy night. You didn't have a crazy night, but it's just like work and stuff.
Been a busy week. Coming off the players, we had a different episode last week, so it just felt kind of out of sorts. But hey, we're here. Look at us.
Yeah, I thought for where we thought it was going to be, I'd give us an A-.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody else out there, let us know. Give us a 5-star review. Subscribe to the show. Set those auto downloads up. We love all that. It helps us a ton. Follow us on social media at Back9Sixpack. And until next time, cheers.
See ya. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Back 9 Six-Pack. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Back 9 Six-Pack for all your content needs. We'll see you guys next week. Cheers.